Hey, so I'm going to do this very quick update video to my LA character. So he's pretty much the same as the POBs I've posted, a few days ago, but kind of want to answer some FAQ and what about the new mechanic as well, like which ascendancy are you picking and all that. So let's start with the ascendancy first because it's the most frequently asked question. So I am the primalist, which is the one that gives you extra inventory slots and gives you charms. Now, which charms to use is definitely these. 1% critical strike chance while at max 1 power charge. These are, I think, completely broken. These are base crit, by the way, and you have 3 of them. That's 3% base crit for like pretty much free, right? This is really broken. So yeah, you definitely want these base crit ones. Now, if you can't get a second modifier one, it's good, but it's not, mandatory. Like here, I got phase on kill, very, very nice. And here I got some like life on kill, very nice, but yeah, not needed. Next is upgrade priority. A common question I get, like, oh man, what do I upgrade first? First big upgrades is always about first big piece should be a Hyres. Death Rush should be last in my opinion. Cluster Jewel, this one right here, can be last. Lethal Pride you can get pretty early on at the cheap. I only have 1 DD right now, but yeah. Is make sure you have like really good basic rares on every single slot before buying anything big though. You really want, life and res on every single slot. Will vastly help out your defense. Talking about defense, that's the next thing I want to mention. Some people say, oh, I feel pretty squishy, what can I do to upgrade and all that. If you feel pretty squishy, make sure you're using Grace and make sure to catch spell suppression. You need these spell suppression nodes. You can get this spell suppression node right here too. And if you really need to, you can also get these spell suppression nodes. But when you get Hyres, it's also just a big defense increase. It is like, pretty expensive early on, but when you can get this, it's a massive defense increase. Of course, Hyres, you get it for the damage, but the defense in this is actually really big. 3k evasion and 30% spell suppress. That 3k evasion is a massive difference. And the spell suppress pretty much, this plus along with some tree nodes allows you to get cap really easily. So yeah, that's why I do recommend Hyres first. Yeah, but outside of that, just make sure you have life on every single piece. Make sure it's spell suppress cap. Make sure you're using evasion, and make sure you're using a Jade Flask. Jade Flask with increased evasion, very important. This will vastly increase your defense, but keep in mind, LA is still a squishy build. I've died a lot on this build as well, especially doing Legion, because Legion is pretty rippy. Yeah. But speaking of my character is like fully done now. So if you want to copy 1-to-1, feel free to. I'll link the pop in the description below. Also, I could get some more upgrades, like my quiver could also be a better base. My bow could be higher LA DPS, but all this gear is good enough to farm, essentially, straight up to Headhunter. Another question I get is, why did you switch to Devotos? I switched to Devotos because charms, I'm crit cap. If you're crit cap, there's not a big reason to use Rat's Nest. So Devotos is nice, the attack speed's really good, the Chaos Res is nice, and 20% move speed. You don't have to use this, you can also use Rare Helmet, your choice, but yeah, that's why I swapped to Devotos. Other question I get is, when do I swap to Maniforged Arrows? Okay, so you swap to Maniforged Arrows when you start doing Legion, in my opinion. I really like using Ballista for all of mapping, like completing your Atlas, doing your Exarch and Eater, because the damage is really, really nice. But then when you get to Legion, Ballistas really aren't as needed. So yeah, swap to a 5-link if you can. Maniforged Arrows when you start doing Legion. So when your Atlas is completely done. And that is the other common question I get is, when can I start doing Legion? You can start doing Legion when essentially all your maps are done outside of like a few uniques. You really want to complete your full Atlas with the Wandering Path setup, and then when it's fully completed, you can then switch to Legion. You don't need like all these invitations or whatever, but you do want all these base points. As you can see, I'm at 125 points out of 132. So yeah, like 122, 120 points, that's completely fine. Outside of that, your watchstones, I brought the Maven and Uber Elder watchstones. You can do it yourself. I could have done on this build easily, but on day 1 it's way too expensive, so it's like more beneficial to buy the carry on day 1. But if you're playing like day 2, day 3, day 4, I would say just do it yourself, unless you're not that experienced. But yeah, if you only have 2 watchstones, by the way, you can just farm Jungle Valley. Jungle Valley is a natural tier 16, not natural, my bad. It's a natural tier 14 by 2 watchstones. It goes to tier 16. So yeah, feel free to farm Jungle Valley. Another question I get is like, how many favorite slots do I need to sustain dunes or whatever? So 6 favorite slots should be enough to sustain dunes and eventually as well. You don't need all of them like me, but yeah, if you have like 7 favorite slots, 6, you should be completely fine. It may feel pretty RNG at the start, but yeah. Make sure when you're doing dunes to always use 4 sextants. You know, just use them on all 4 watchstones. Whatever you get is what you get. You can keep the good ones too and sell them. But yeah, you really want to use 4 sextants. It helps sustain a lot. So yeah, anything else? Let me see real quick. I think that's pretty much about it. So yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment below or just join my stream. I'm also streaming like, 18 hours a day or whatever. But yeah, hope this helped people who are, who are struggling or who just wanted to know what I was doing with the ascendancy and stuff. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah. And yeah, I will be streaming on Twitch, by the way, when this goes up. So if you want to watch, feel free to.